That place was school, the fire department. I'm washing it out. That used to be a school. What happened? Some guys took this
That was the other fire that you know.
All the remnants. And you know, no, but I am unemployed, so I think
That means don't ask anymore. It was he wasn't afraid. He no more now. Now it's they used to have nice times. Didn't have to. No, they still have a cat, but they're not as what was that?
This doesn't look no, it does. I was looking at the pole. It's
Yeah, that was nice. I saw the burgers.
And I wonder what 100 million converts now. You know, for 50 billions and billions of dollars. Right on his and he has a condo in East. Down Jeffrey's
My name is Joe McDonald, Chelsea Firefighter. Went on in 1971 and got to experience the conflagration 50 years ago today, as a matter of fact. I was home, getting ready to go to work that night, and when I had gone upstairs, I noticed my radio wasn't on, so I turned the radio on, and at that point in time, I heard a commotion. I said, what's going on? There must be something happening. So I looked out the window, and I saw all the smoke. I said, whoa. So I didn't even change. I just took off and went to the station. When I got there, Captain Bob Betters was there, and another firefighter, Mike Pallion. And he said, Joe, you're qualified on Engine 6. And I said, yes, certainly am. So we hopped on Engine 6 and off we went to the fire. And at the time, that piece of apparatus had no radio. And I believe it was stated on that, the radio at that time that we have Joe McDonald, man in Engine 6, but they don't have a radio. So we got down by the chicken company down here on down the street, and next thing you know, it was jumping over us and backed out of there and was there the whole night as the fire just progressed to 18 city blocks. It was quite an experience, and if I was a young man, I'd do it all over again. I dearly miss it. Even at 81, as a young man, at 81, I wish I could do it right now. God bless all my brothers.
Good afternoon. My name is Leo Robinson. This is the 50-year anniversary of the Chelsea fire in 1973. For those of you who may not know, I grew up in this neighborhood, and actually my house was right here on 4th Street. We lived in a 3-family. Our house was destroyed. Everything that we owned, every possession, every picture, every piece of instrument that we owned was all gone. And actually, at the time I worked for the community action programs at the city with Bob Rapucci, and actually he charged me with putting together a development team to look at developing 123 units of housing to replace the 103 families that were burnt out. And actually this was an urban renewal area, so we had to compete with a couple other developers in regards to the property, and it ended up that the property went to one of the developers who built an office building. So therefore, housing was put on hold. For over a year, we attempted to buy a house here in Chelsea. We ran into a bunch of different obstacles. My mother and my younger sister and younger brother had to go to Malden. They lived with my aunt. I lived on Everett Avenue with my grandmother. My brother Ronald also stayed in Chelsea. We continued to live here up until even to today. You know, Chelsea was our home. We went to Williams School here. We used to play ball at Carey Park. We graduated from Williams School, graduated from Chelsea High School, went on to college, and came back to Chelsea and got involved in local politics. My brother and I have a group called Lewis H. Latimer Society, and people don't know Lewis Latimer was African-American inventor who was born here in Chelsea in 1848, and we use him as a role model to introduce him to kids. And this is such a historic day in the city of Chelsea. There's a lot of activities that are happening. This is the 50-year anniversary of the fire. In January, we'll be kicking off the 400th anniversary of the city. Today was magnificent with so many firefighters from years ago and present are here to show their support, and some of them who actually worked on the fire that day. It just was very, very moving day to see half the city go up in flames. I remember the fire engines blocking across Arlington Street to save the school. They had ambers were flying all the way to City Hall. Kaplan, who at the auto parts store, got up on his roof with a garden hose, spraying the roof so that it wouldn't catch on fire. So, and then the Senator Kennedy and Mayor Spellman, and them came to tour the site to see how much damage and how much assistance that we were going to get from the federal government. So it was pretty tough go for a lot of families. And when people came in to offer assistance and asked about, I have an apartment for you over in Somerville or over in some other community, their response was, I'm from Chelsea, I want to stay in Chelsea, I only know Chelsea, and Chelsea is my life. So that's where we wanted to be. So, and coming to a close, I think today was just an outstanding day. The committee, I was part of the committee with Steve and Killian. It was just a great effort.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whichever is appropriate at your watching time. My name's Alan Albert. I am the retired Emergency Management and 911 Director for the City of Chelsea. Back 50 years ago, I was a member of the Chelsea Auxiliary Fire Department during the day of the Great Chelsea Fire that we are celebrating this afternoon and today. I was in Revere when I heard on my scanner that Chelsea had a very serious working fire that very quickly went to multiple alarms. I responded to the city, and just seeing the smoke, the fire, the rapid spread, and listening to the radio was an unbelievable experience. The fire department, under the command of Chief Fothergill and the Deputy Chief of the day, Chief William Coyne, did a remarkable job with incident command before anybody knew what incident command was. It was a question of surrounding the fire and keeping it as close to the center of origin as we could. The breaking points for the fire on the eastern side was the Woodland School. If the fire didn't stop at the Woodland School, we would have lost the rest of the fire. The number of alarms that were struck for this fire was unseen in the past, and thank God has never been seen in the future. The response from mutual aid apparatus from 3 states was unprecedented for a fire in anywhere. This was the first fire in the country that would receive the Presidential Disaster Declaration for a fire in a community. The city received millions of dollars from the federal government which was only a token of money to help the people rebuild. Beyond the fire, the people that worked in City Hall under Mayor Philip J. Spellman at the time, the social agencies that came out to help people, the food that was delivered, the clothing that was delivered has never been seen like this before. Today, fortunately, we do not suffer the ability to have that type of a fire in Chelsea because we no longer have the rag shops and junkyards that a lot of people that are watching this are probably saying, what is a rag shop and what is a junkyard? Well, do a Google of the Chelsea conflagration, look it up, and you will see exactly what myself and everybody else are talking about. It was a tremendous learning experience working with the chief, working under his command. It's the first time that I had ever heard the term a staging area. And we had this enormous amount of mutual aid coming into the city. The Chief Fothergill wanted all directed to the St. Rose parking lot, which is on Broadway. They needed some direction once they got there. Although they had ample apparatus at the fire, brands from the fire were floating in the air throughout the city and catching other locations on fire, such as the Chelsea City Hall. If it wasn't for the rapid response of the mutual aid companies, Chelsea City Hall would have been lost. And that all started because there was a couple of open windows in the attic of City Hall, and some of the brands went right into City Hall. It was a heroic challenge by the members of the fire departments that responded. During the time of the fire, probably around 8 o'clock, I was listening on my radio at the staging area where we had over 15 engine companies, 7 ladder companies, and a couple of rescues trucks standing by to respond to future calls. When I heard that there was a multiple alarm fire being struck in the city of Revere, the Revere fire alarm dispatcher said to the deputy chief, "You can strike all the alarms you want, all the apparatuses in Chelsea. We'll have no apparatus coming to Revere." I called Chelsea Fire Alarm and asked the dispatcher, the late George Brown, who unfortunately just passed away 2 weeks ago, if I could bring a second alarm response of apparatus down to Revere, which was 5 engines and 2 ladder trucks, and assured them that we had ample supply of apparatus remaining in the city. I was given the opportunity to bring the apparatus down, and it was with the help of all this mutual aid companies that they averted a very disastrous fire on the boulevard in Revere Beach. The after effects from the fire, all of the lessons learned, all of the research that the late Chief Fothergill did following the fire came to bring in new regulations to the city, new tools and equipment to the city, and Chelsea had a rebirth on its fire department as far as tools and technology. It was a great honor for me to be part of that, as it's a great honor for me to be here 50 years ago talking with the members of the fire department that have joined us for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to celebrate the 50th anniversary and to renew some friendship of members of the fire service that we have not seen in years. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Paul Coolian, Supervisor with Emergency Management, 40-year fire alarm operator with the City of Chelsea. My experience with the fire was 12 years old. Actually skating at the Corona rink with a bunch of my friends, which was a weekend thing. Come out to a big plume of smoke and knew right away the fire was definitely had to be in Chelsea. A bunch of us walked. I actually jumped on the back of an old engine that was parked out on Broadway and rode it down to Central Station near City Hall. I actually didn't get down into the bowels of the fire because I knew my mother would be kind of nervous. I was a firehouse buff. I hung in the firehouse for years. Knew all of these guys by name. You know, I ate lunch with them, ran their errands for them over the years. And I'll never forget the day. I remember going home. My mother and my father were emptying out the house. putting everything in the trunk of the car, clothes and everything, because they were concerned, as my father growing up in that era, with the 1908 fire ever spreading through the city. Fortunately, it didn't happen. We had a good stand at the Williams School. Several out-of-town firefighters with hose lines, tower ladder trucks. They made a stand at the Williams School. As far as the historical part of what we're doing here today, I've actually been invested in this for the last 20-25 years. Over the years, I've accumulated memorabilia. Most importantly, the 2 fire alarm boxes that were pulled for the fire. I actually got them from the seller of fire alarm back in 1983. They were in the process of getting rid of us all the old equipment that was down there. So I grabbed box 228, box 215. I've had them since 1983. As recently as 4 years ago, I actually turned the box 215 back over to the fire department to use for memorabilia for the fire, and lo and behold, we put this little shindig together. Steve Staffia, myself, Genicel, John Quateri, Deputy Chief John Quateri, Joe Conlon, our crews from 911. There's a lot of people to mention that really made this thing come together. As you can see, we actually have a great crew here today. Great turnout. I mean, more than expected, and I hope everybody enjoyed the day.
Hi, Jay Rosenswad, longtime residents of Chelsea. In 1973, when the fire broke out, my mother was taking me and my sister to Brigham's ice cream. The smoke and everything there. She said we better go back to the house because things didn't look good. And that same day, my uncle came from Peabody to take my grandparents and me and the family. We had quite a bit of family living in Chelsea, and they took us to Peabody because once you left, you couldn't come back in because of the National Guards and everything. And I had my aunt and uncle. My uncle had a store in Chelsea, Barron Tire Company, which the fire went right up to the railroad tracks and then stopped. So his store was spared in the Chelsea fire. But I remember that as clear as day, being a kid, 13 years old, and seeing all that go on. They had the National Guards. Looked like a war zone back then as a kid. Never forget it.